It is now 5:41. And call the meeting to order. Dr. Newsom, would you pray for us, please?
Let us please go to the Lord in prayer. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to gather tonight and to discuss important issues that will affect our city. We ask that your will please be upon us to guide us in a way that best serves the citizens of Durant and our area as we make these decisions. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. If you would stand for a flag salute. Roll call, please.
Drew Jackson,
Here.
Shane Knight,
Here.
Clint Horner, Whitney Kerr, here, Thomas Newsom.
First order of business under consent items is consider approval of regular minutes, meeting minutes of December 6th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of December 6th.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Call for a vote, please.
Drew Jackson,
Aye.
Shane Knight,
Aye.
Whitney Kerr, aye, Thomas Newsom.
Moving to the public hearing section, discussion, consideration, and possible action on PC 2023-1, a rezoning request from A1 General Agriculture to C2 Highway Commercial and Commercial Recreation Property near Southeast 3rd Avenue and Rodeo Road. Ms. O'Neill.
Good evening. The applicant has requested a rezoning of the property near Southeast 3rd and Rodeo Road to go from A1 to C2. The surrounding property is all A1 in that area. Most of it is vacant or single-family properties. The total acreage for the entire property is 18 acres. The total portion that's C2 is about 6 acres. They've applied for the platting and rezoning together. You guys seen this a couple months back. There were just the rezoning for the single family was approved. And now it's coming back to ask for this. Again, the total lot for the commercial is about 6 acres. The future land use map does have this as commercial uses. The main question is whether or not this would be considered spot zoning, is what staff had, and that's all I pretty much have. We did not receive any letters or calls about this item either from the public.
Since we have seen and voted on this once before, and I don't think there's any changes, if it's the other members agree, I may move to hear from the applicant.
I just picked up, sorry, that I just picked up that the that the R1 lots are not on this application.
That's
but
correct.
That's because they were approved on the October 4th meeting.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Danny Corey. I'm the applicant. You'll have any questions? I didn't change anything from the first time. It stayed the same. Basically, I purchased the land because the future map zone in Durant was shown it as a commercial land, and that's the reason why we purchased the land. And I'm requesting exactly what the future land map showing.
I think that was mainly the question that I had. Just were there any changes from the last one that we
Nothing.
didn't know about?
Nothing changed.
Okay.
Oh. Thank you.
Is there any discussion?
under the impression that maybe some people in the audience want to speak.
Okay. If there's anybody else who would like to speak?
I'm Sandra Levins, a neighbor. We still don't want a gas station on that corner because the main thing is that's a killer corner. It has killed a lot of people. It's a dangerous, very dangerous corner. And this would increase the action there, and I believe it would increase the fatalities there. It is also considered spot zoning. I don't think Durant should get into spot zoning. I thought that's what we were trying to get away from. That's all basically that we have to say. Thank you.
Heather Dobbins, I live right on the corner. She's talking about the very dangerous intersection. Since my dad started keeping score, as he says, in 1984, there have been 11 deaths at that corner. Another thing I was talking earlier is that I was talking about that I had one morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I had a guy come knocking on my door screaming that he couldn't see, and he had been walking, got into a fight, and got pepper sprayed. So I had to call the sheriff's department. Not only that, right before Christmas, there was a wreck. I had to call 911. It took 20 minutes for somebody to get there. I couldn't imagine if it had been something more serious for the highway patrol to get there because, you know, I'm on this side of the road instead of that side of the road. But it's extremely dangerous. And not only that, if we have a gas station that close, it's going to be worse with the people coming and just walking up and down that road. And it's a very dangerous road. 11 deaths since 1984 since we started keeping count, as Dad says. Thank you.
Thanks. Danny, would you mind coming back up? Thanks.
Yes.
You may or may not know the answer to this, and it's okay. There was rumor that DOT had planned for like a exit lane or additional shoulder.
Yes.
Can you speak to the plans for that?
Yes. They will widen the road 8 feet on each side, so it will be almost double the width of the existing road right now. I do have a copy of the plans at the office. I don't have them with me right now. I would love to show you those pictures. Now, I understand, like she mentioned 11, then 14 deaths, so I'm not sure which one is the correct number. And then I didn't find any records of those numbers. I mean, I'd just like to show you. If you can just
Sure.
the pictures.
So this additional
This is,
footage that they're going to add, does that include a turn lane?
We can, no, this is a picture from Google Earth standing on that intersection, showing that you can see 2,000 feet on each side of that intersection, which is, in my opinion, it's plenty of room to stop. And you can see.
So again, do you know if the plans include a turn lane?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, it's
that-
been a while since I looked at the plan, but I believe so.
If you have the plans, if you could bring them
Yes,
to the council
yes,
meeting, I think
yes,
that may
of
be
course.
helpful.
Yeah. And is it? Can you see that you can actually
Mhm.
see 2,000 feet on each side of that intersection? Because that point is the highest point in the area. So when you're turning to the highway, you can actually have a full vision of the entire highway. Any intersection is a dangerous intersection
Sure.
if you have drunk people and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
thank you.
Can I go again?
Sure.
I don't know where he would look for those records to see if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but he's never sat on that corner in the fireworks stand and watched a wreck happen. He's never sat and watched somebody die right there at that corner. They changed it from 55 to 65 right before you get to the corner on each side. It goes down to 55 here. People are driving faster than that. They don't slow down. They don't look. They come down Rodeo Road not knowing what they're doing. They miss the stop sign. I've seen it. I've sat and watched it. Now, we were talking about getting, if we could get the sign moved to where they wouldn't hit 65 when they come up on that corner. This corner has been a dangerous corner.
We're talking about the speed limit sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that because it's right before you get to Rodeo Road, and it shouldn't be. It should be after that because people start accelerating right there. And if you're coming down Rodeo Road, it's better with the bypass, but not everybody comes from Choctaw to the bypass. A lot of times they turn right there because they know it was the big paint horse on the pole and now it's the big boot. They know if you turn there, you can go to Choctaw. And if they're coming back late at night, they don't know there's a stop and they run right through it. It is a very dangerous intersection. And when will they do? When will they put in this? I know they've been in talks about it for a long time because I know they've come in and talked to Dad and I about it, and my Aunt Elvie lives across the street, but there's nothing been said about when it's going to take place. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Any other discussion? I'll lay my cards on the table and just say that, you know, with information not changing since the last time that we looked at this, my vote won't either. In terms of spot zoning, it's my opinion it's not spot zoning. You know, if we're looking at future land use map, you know, we've told people, you know, that's what they should look to in terms of future direction for the city. So if there's not any other conflicts, being that we have published that that's our intent for that area, I think it should be commercial. So those are my opinions.
I have the same sentiment. I think we discussed this item for a lengthy period of time back in the October 4th meeting. And considering this is the exact same proposal coming to us again, I'm inclined to be of the same mind as well. I don't know if you're ready for a motion or more discussion.
If there's not any more discussion, ready for a motion?
I make a motion to approve PC 2023-01, rezoning from A1 to C2.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second. Motion and a second. Call for vote, please.
Drew Jackson,
Aye.
Shane Knight,
Aye.
Whitney Kerr. Aye. Thomas Newsome.
Aye.
4B, discussion, consideration, and possible action on PC 2023-1, final plat request for property near Rodeo Road and Southeast 3rd. Ms. O'Neill?
This is tied to the previous case. This is the final plat for the same area. This is the 18 acres. They divided it the same exact way as you saw back in October. 3 lots. 3 lots are 2 acres. 2 acre lots expected to be commercial. 5 acres are the 1 acre lots expected to be single family, and then the remaining 7 acres will remain as 1 lot to remain as agriculture. They are listed on the plat as the zoning types. So with every zoning that you recommended approval, that should be okay. But moving forward, just letting you know that that is marked on the plat as the zoning types. So, and staff did sign off on the plat, and there's no other comments or questions. If you have any questions of me.
Sorry, what page is the plat on, so that we can put that up?
Should be towards the end of the packet. I always try to save it towards the very end.
Page 40.
Can we put page 40 on the screen, please? Any questions for Ms. O'Neill? Again, I think we've had lengthy discussion about this a couple months ago, so. Would the applicant like to speak to this? Not necessarily. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the plat? Any discussion? Call for a motion.
Danielle, I just have one clarification. On our printed agenda, it's listing PC 2023-01 twice.
Yes, we have them listed. So we have it listed on the same case number as one case.
Okay.
But when we published it as two separate cases. And so when we did the agenda, we wanted to go ahead and have two separate items, just like we would for council. We thought it'd be a little easier for y'all this time.
Okay. So we're skipping over potential item 02.
No.
No.
We have
we're
an
not.
02.
We have
just,
an 02.
Yes.
It's just not here right
the
now.
numbering system is just for our
Okay.
uses.
All right.
It's not.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't
Yeah.
call out the wrong
No,
one.
you're good. You're good.
Okay. I make a motion to approve item 4B, PC 2023-01, final plat request.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Having a motion and a second, call for a vote, please.
Drew Jackson,
Aye.
Shane Knight,
Aye.
Whitney Kerr,
Aye.
Thomas Newsom.
Aye.
Motion passes. 4C, discussion, consideration, and possible action on PC 2023-03, rezoning request from A1 General Agriculture to C2 Highway Commercial and Commercial Recreation District for property located near West Main and South 49th Avenue. Ms. O'Neill.
This is a request to kind of get some zoning cleaned up, as well as to make some ag property commercial that's fronts on Main Street near South 49th Avenue. It's about 29.4 acres total. They are hoping to have some future commercial development, as well as to kind of have, they have a property now that's dual zone, so they're going to fix that. We have not received any phone calls about it. The future land use map on this has it as commercial and residential mixed use, so it is generally in line with the future land use map. The area is mostly made up of commercial, industrial, agriculture, and residential zones, so it's a whole bunch of, we have everything in that area. And staff does recommend approval of this and to support it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So explain to me why this is being done as an emergency request?
So on the zone, on every ordinance, there's always an emergency clause. It's just something that's there, and if it's not passed as an emergency clause, then you have to wait an additional 30 days before it becomes ineffective. If it passes with the emergency clause, then it becomes effective immediately, and that's what council will determine as far as the emergency clause. The reason that you guys have the paper copies in front of you instead of in the packet is there was an error in the agenda where we had it had the wrong listing on the section 1, but that was provided for you tonight.
So just my concern, and this is more from a procedural perspective, if we are making the assertion on anything that there's an emergency for immediate passage, in the staff reports, there needs to be some sort of specification what the effect would be on safety, health, something of that nature, because that's essentially the assertion we're making, is that there is some impact on peace, health, or safety in the city of Durant. And that's a little, I mean, it's a term of art, but if you're going to claim it, you need to have something in your staff report that explains why that would be the case.
I can certainly start trying to do that. That's nothing I've ever done before. And typically, yeah, I mean, I can.
It's not typically a concern, but the problem is it's not a concern until you hit the problematic case where it is a concern, and then it starts being questioned why everything is going through as an emergency, especially if there's no justification for it in reports, anything else. So it's one of those things that's standard language, but if you're going to claim it, you need to have some sort of support for it.
Okay, I can try to start doing that.
Ms. O'Neill, I know you said that, this is a mix of different zoning. Looking at the current zoning map, it does look like everything across the frontage is already commercial though, right?
The front of it, yes, and then the back side is agricultural.
Okay, so we're basically just deepening what already exists, correct?
Correct. It's much like what we did on a previous property that was on further next to the Methodist Church. When we did that one, we changed some. That was a little different, but much like the same, where we just kind of changed some zoning there. Just a little different. Instead, they want all C2 instead of anything residential or ag.
This is about 29 acres, right?
Yes.
I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you have any idea how much of that is already commercial? So out of the 29 acres, the applicant may
I know it goes further back, about 600-ish, 660 feet from off of Main Street. I don't know how. I'd say probably the full width of it, but I don't have that measurement in front of me.
I wouldn't either.
Well, we'll take that back. 1,200 by 600, because if the width's about 1,200 feet, approximately, and then 600 deep, 660 deep. I can get my phone and calculate that, but
So 16 and a half?
yeah. What about?
Any other questions for Ms. O'Neill? Would the applicant like to speak?
This is kind of really, to us, a rather
If
simple thing.
you don't mind, if you would state your name for the record.
The property through, when they annexed it, they drew this arbitrary line across the south part of this property, and they just called it A1, and then that top part would be called, it's already C2. So it was originally zoned to C2 when it was taken into the city. All Mr. Reeves and them want to do is to get this tract together so that they can put a commercial enterprise out there. The nature of the enterprise, of course, would be they bring it before the planning commission to tell you what it is they want to do. But generally speaking, there's 30 acres in this tract, and we were required to go ahead and include the whole 30 into C2 because they said there might be a little strip of land down there across the boundary between these two tracts that might not be covered. But the thing is, the top 20 acres is already Zine C2. It's already on the highway. It has a highway frontage. Just about everything out there is being commercial right now. And so the only thing we're asking is that you be including the south 10 acres of this so that it will be a feasible place to draw or make the improvements that they want to put on the property. We think it'll benefit Durant, and really there's nothing else going out there but commercial use, as you can tell. So it's just a simple fact of just rezoning the south 10 acres to C2 so that we can proceed with the commercial enterprise. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? Any public comments? Anyone from the audience want to speak?
Dale Goad. I own the property across the highway from it. I'm all for this. Steve has done an outstanding job all over Durant. I think he'll do something nice here as well. So we're for it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any discussion?
I have zero problem with this. I mean, this just makes sense for this particular area. That's what it is. Perfect Hallmark is just a continuation of what's happening, so.
I agree. Would you like to make a motion with that?
I make a motion to approve the request to rezone from A1 General Ag and C2 to all of it being C2 for this property.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Call for a vote, please.
Drew Jackson,
Aye.
Shane Knight,
Aye.
Whitney Kerr,
Aye.
Thomas Newsom.
Aye.
Motion passes. Any new business? We have a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Gotcha.